Hello, everyone. I'm just going to test the sound before we get started. So if you can hear me, make sure that you turn your speakers up as loud as you want to hear me. And if you can't hear me, there is this down along the bottom, or maybe it's come up on the side, there's a chat box. You can drop me a note or drop me a question just to see if I can help you out with your sound. But right now you should be seeing a screen with the 4-H Clover and a title called Cleaver Kids. We'll just wait a couple more minutes to be 7 o'clock and then we will get rolling. I won't be able to hear anybody. You will only be able to hear me, and the way we can communicate is through the chat box or the question and answer. So if you're worried about feedback, dogs barking, kids yelling, I can't hear that. You can only hear me and my background noises, and hopefully there isn't any at the moment. Hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, I realize the kids are loud and it's supper time or bedtime or time to do a new activity. So we'll get started. So I'm going to turn the video chat off, but I wanted to see who you guys were listening to or to see my face. My name is Suzanne Stone and I'm the Executive Director of the 4-H Council of Alberta. And one of our mandates is to manage Cleaver Kids for 4-H Alberta and help leaders out as best as we can, or answer questions and be a support mechanism for them. So over the next little bit, I'm just going to advance my slide here. Hopefully that works for everybody. Over the next 30 to 40 minutes, we're going to focus on 4 areas of skill development. I did a webinar a couple months ago that focused on the requirements for Cleaver Kids, but tonight we're going to focus on the 4 areas. I'm going to give you a couple activities to try out and using your clubs. There also will be some time to ask some questions, and my contact information will be at the end of the webinar as well. So just as a reminder or to create awareness, I am recording the webinar, so those people that signed up and weren't able to attend can watch it at their leisure. It will also be sent to you guys as participants after, so you can listen to it or share it with fellow leaders if you found it of value. So I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. You don't have to go far. Don't scrounge for the best piece of paper, but later on I'm going to try an activity virtually. So if you could grab a pen and a paper, doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be huge, and we will be using that in a little bit. Like I said, there's a few more people that just joined us, so there is a chat box, so you can choose whether you talk to everyone or if you just talk to me, and I believe Zoom refers to me as a panelist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the skill development, why it's important to us, and then provide you with some activities to try. And so like I said, we'll send you the recording, so if you are making supper or busy with the kids, you don't have to write frantically to jot down the activities that are listed. So the first one is developing new friendships. Children at this age are learning how to interact with others and are beginning to form friendships. Younger kids, yes, they interact with other kids, but they aren't necessarily developing those concrete relationships or friendships. They're being able to create an environment for nurturing and developing new friendships with peers, adults, fellow members is a primary goal for Cleaver Kids in 4-H. So that's not only friendships with Cleaver Kids to Cleaver Kids, but it's also friendships between the Cleaver Kids and the members, parents of Cleaver Kids to parents of members, and leaders to leaders. So there's a wide variety of opportunity to develop new relationships and friendships within 4-H Alberta. We would like them to form a personal connection, and it's also a way to increase engagement and retention in the program. Our stats that we have collected over the years have said that members stay, Cleaver Kids stay, leaders stay because of that positive environment and that relationship or friendships that they have gained in the program. Making new friends, Cleaver Kids will be more likely to continue their tenure, like I just mentioned, with the group and move forward in their 4-H careers, because all the alumni, and I see some names I really recognize on tonight, that 4-H friends definitely are forever. So that starts right with the Cleaver Kids age group. Learning, sharing, and experiencing new things with friends is a great way for everyone to have fun. And they take away new knowledge, skills, and they make memories that last for years to come. And it's always better in a social environment with a group of friends. So the next slide, I'm going to give you a couple activities to try. You may have heard them, but I want to provide you with the opportunity to be creative. So just because I said go and do this activity, it may not work for the demographics of your group. It may not work for the skills and abilities of your Cleaver Kids either. So take it, make it your own, make it work for yourself and your 4-H club. So the first one is, I've done this with a couple groups that I've went out to visit, because one of the challenges that leaders are telling me is integrating Cleaver Kids with members, getting parents to know parents, leaders to know all the members in the Cleaver Kids name. So this can start right at the beginning of the year, or it can start now. So you take all the Cleaver Kids and members, parents, leaders, whoever's really in the room that always comes, put them in a hat and mix them up. So it's like a draw. Have each individual draw a name, and then spend 10, 15, it may even turn into a half an hour to find that person. So whoever you draw out of the hat, you're going to go find that person and introduce themselves. So you may have to give them some tips and hints, especially if the group is young and shy, but you can give them hints on, say, tell them your name, what town or school you go to, what's your birth date, do you have a dog, what is its name, what's your favorite thing to do. So you might give them tips and hints. And you can do this as many times as you want in one setting, or you can do this once every time your club meets. Some options that you can do with this is you can have the partners develop a simple handshake. So it's maybe a high five up high, high five down low, and one around the back. And you'll see every time these members and these kids particularly come together, they'll be like, hey, what's our secret handshake? And they'll get into it, especially if they see role models modeling that as well. And like I said, with a large club, this can be done at each meeting, or you can do it just at the beginning of the year. It's often, if the kids don't go to school together, they don't know each other. And even though you think they get along, they still may not know each other's names. So it's really good to make sure that you are providing an opportunity for them to learn their names, because that helps with the friendship as well. Another opportunity that works well, and there's a photo here of a senior member and a Cleaver kid, is develop a buddy system. And we don't want 4-H to turn into a babysitting service by our senior members, babysitting the young ones, but there's opportunity to provide mentoring opportunities for our older members. So use the fun social activities. This photo was taken a couple weeks ago. The 4-H club went dog sledding locally, and what they did, because of weight restrictions, they partnered up the older members with the Cleaver kids to balance out the weight. But what was really neat about this is the senior members took those kids under their wing and said, hey, let's go see the puppies, or it's our time to jump on the dog sled. We got to be ready. Are you ready to go? And we didn't have to do that. Because it was a fun environment, it wasn't taking away from them learning about their project or enhancing their own skills. It was in that social fun atmosphere. So make sure it doesn't turn into babysitting, but mentoring and communicating with those younger kids. The next area of skill development is creating a sense of belonging in the club and the community. Cleaver kids definitely are a part of the 4-H clubs, because one of the requirements is 4-H clubs cannot have Cleaver kids unless they have a minimum of 8 regular members. So together they make up the 4-H club. Cleaver kids, because of their stage of the development, they're largely focused on themselves, and you may have seen this within your clubs. They are wondering what's next for me, not necessarily waiting for someone else to finish their task before they're wanting to move on. 4-H provides that opportunity for children at this age to learn about working together and think about beyond their individual needs and desires. Also in 4-H, we focus on the strength of teamwork, communication, and making connections with those around us and contributing to the well-being of the communities. Like I said, Cleaver kids are part of the club, so make sure that you are having opportunities or scheduling it in your programs to make sure that kids are mingling, or they can do activities that they're getting to know fellow members, because these Cleaver kids look up to the junior, intermediates, and seniors, and they want to be just like them. So if they see or feel that they have helped them out or even said hi to them, that will increase their tenure in the club as well, because they do feel a part of it. This activity went a little sideways in the left picture. A group of adults did it in the right side at Leaders Conference. And this activity can be as fancy or as easy as you want to make it. You can use a piece of paper. You can use canvases from the dollar store. You can get high-tech canvases. And what they do is they go around and they find a hand, 1 or 4 hands for 4-H, from someone in their club. So they can find a fellow Cleaver kid, they could find a fellow member or someone that was kind to them or helped them out, a parent that doesn't necessarily need to be theirs, a 4-H alumni, and a leader. They can join them together. So the picture on the left was from a 6-year-old, and then we had them write Head, Heart, Health, and Hands, and 4-H. And I think you can pull all of that out of the picture. Every kid had a unique canvas when they were done. The adults on the right are a little bit more organized, but they didn't write Head, Heart, Health, and Hands on theirs because we ran out of time during that. But it encourages them to meet new people. That group of ladies, I guess there's 1 man in there, at Leaders Conference, didn't know each other, but they had 3 new friends by the time they were done that activity. In the club, so there's 2 components to this skill development area is the club. How do you incorporate those kids in the club? Because their attention spans aren't very long, and they don't sit through the business meetings, or maybe the business meetings are too long. Work with your general leader. If you're the Cleaver kid leader, work out a deal on how those kids can be incorporated into the meeting. So that could be as simple as Cleaver Kid is partnered with another member to lead the pledge. They stay for roll call and then they do their own club activities. Other clubs I have seen that they stay for the pledge, roll call, old business, and then they leave. Or they're not there at the beginning of the meeting at all and they come back for the fun and snack. Include them in club social activities. Why there's a focus on social activities is because when you're teaching members about grooming a steer, grooming the dog, quilting techniques that may be a little bit difficult, it's very hard to program for a 6 to 20-year-old in the same group. So pick those club social activities like the dog sledding, the Christmas parties, and if you don't have any of those, make sure you're incorporating some type of fun activity that it doesn't matter age or skill level that they can participate in. Multi-clubs, if you're a multi-club, take your Cleaver kids on an adventure. Look at the program year, look at the projects and the activities that they offer, and see when you can go and visit them. So what we want Cleaver kids to do is we want them to explore and experience as many projects as possible. Because when they turn 9, they have an opportunity to enroll in a traditional 4-H project. And they're not necessarily interested in a lamb project, even though the rest of their family is. They may be interested in small engines. And exploring the projects gives them the opportunity to learn what's out there for when they become 9. Learning what's next. So during the meetings, maybe you go by the record book marking table, or let them talk to a leader or volunteer that is marking the record book, so they see that they will have the opportunity to do that when they are older. Give them the opportunity to attend public speaking. They don't have to, and it's not a requirement to participate in, but if they're 9, their parents and they and that child may want to check it out so they're familiar with the atmosphere. Also, when you're having project days or workshops, involve them, but you have to make sure that it is with the Cleaver Kid leader and the activities are age appropriate, because you don't want to just throw them in with the junior members, because we always want them to be excited about what the next age group in 4-H brings. Community, have them explore who lives in their community. So they're broadening their horizons, their knowledge about who's important to their community. And that could be done through tours. You can go tour to the local fire department. You can go and visit the local head cashier at the grocery store, because they are an important part to the community. Local farms, that's where you can explore some projects. You could go to a feedlot or a dairy farm or a sheep farm if that is available in your area. You could also go visit the local quilting store as tours. And the nice thing about those is they're pretty cost effective. They don't necessarily cost a whole lot to go, other than some time and travel to get there. Incorporate them in the community service activity. Introduce them to it that your club is doing. That's the picture in the middle. The 4-H club does a couple community service activities that this photo was taken from, but the Cleaver kids engage in Santa's elves gift wrapping at Christmas times. The club expands and they deliver the Christmas hampers, they deliver the toys. The Cleaver kids aren't quite ready for that. Some of them are, but they get a feel of giving back by starting them small and introducing them to them. So KIS at the end, keep it simple and give them an introduction to it, make it fun for them so they feel that it's an important job that they have to be a part of their community and give back to it. Here's 2 more activities, and I think I have everybody's email addresses. I can email them to you directly. Is random acts of kindness. These kids, they're enthusiastic, they want to go meet people, and here's a way to encourage those maybe quieter ones or challenge the ones that are the go-getters. So a random act of kindness. I have a activity called Roll a Yak. So rack stands for random act of kindness. And this is a dice. It works well. You can roll it at the end of your meeting, and whatever the Cleaver kid gets, that's what they have to accomplish right then or by the time you come back to your meeting again. So hopefully you can read that. It's if you roll a 1, it's write a thank you note to someone who has helped you. Doesn't have to be 4-H, it can be anywhere. 2 is offering a helping hand to someone who is busy. Make something special for a friend or family is what you get if you get a 3. Roll a 4 is say something nice to 4 people. Make a card for someone who is sick or not feeling well. And the other one is open a door or say good morning, afternoon, night to people during the day. Simple, very cost effective, something that you guys have around the home as well to implement that activity. The next one on the right-hand side is compliment cards. So you can hand these out at one time, or it could be something, again, that they take home with them. You don't have to use this design, but it's, hey, you, thank you for being a great neighbor. So they can decorate that card, they can color it, they can write their name on the back of it and deliver it to someone in their community that they feel is of value. And simple as, hey, you rock, could go to an older member that has helped them out in the club. The third of the skill development areas is development of listening skills and the ability to express themselves. With a limited attention spans, like we talked about, these kids of this age need to more focus on the development of how to listen and begin developing communication skills. Should be emphasized, but not focused on or put pressure on, because we are developing those skills. Cleaver kids learn from the basics of communicating with others through various activities and have plenty of opportunity for self-expression through artwork, games, and other creative activities you plan throughout the year. So a lot of hands-on activities can help with this because they're using their creative abilities through, again, those artwork, games, and other activities that you have throughout the year. Some activities that you can try. So this is where you're going to dig out that pen and paper that I give you earlier, or I can't see you and I can't hear you, so you can pretend that you're doing it along with me. The next 2 pictures are another tool that we have as well. So the one on the left is, I want you to kind of draw that shape. You don't have to color it in. What it is, it's Hannah the horse. So that is supposed to be a horse head. So however you want to draw a horse head, that is great. I'm going to read you a story, and from the pictures on the right-hand side, you are going to pick or point or quickly draw on your horse head on which ones that I say. So are we ready? It's a quick story, bunch of different sentences, so you just have to listen and draw. Hannah loves her beautiful brown eyes. Please put them on her so she can see. And I'm going to go pretty fast. Hannah is having a hard time hearing. Can you put the brown ears on her, please? Hannah can smell carrots from a mile away. They are her favorite treat, after all. Can you give her a nose? And remember, Hannah is a girl, not a boy. Now that she can smell the carrots again, she would like to taste them too. Can you please give her some beautiful pink lips? Perfect. Now she can eat. Can you give her some of her favorite treats now? She loved them, but boy, is she thirsty. To help make Hannah happy, can you give her some water? So now you should have your Hannah the horse complete. And with the Cleaver kids, you would cut these pictures out that are on the right-hand side, and they can glue or place them on there. Or you can create your own animal that's maybe a sheep if you're from a sheep club, or a steer or heifer or a canine. You can be creative with it. For those of you who are just kind of pointing, you should have the bunny ears, the white pail, the blue eyes, the nose with the mustache, red lips, and one more thing, the donut left on your page that you did not draw. So it's a fun way to get the kids to sit and listen to you for a couple minutes. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. They can draw it. You can have pictures that they cut out. It just depends on what the Cleaver kids' abilities are. A couple more activities for listening skills and ability to express themselves. This is really a fun category because you are building the public speakers of the future. So you can basically do anything you would like in this under the skill development area. So keys to being a good listener. You can either find some old keys and have them different colors, color-coded. You can use these keys here, draw your own, and come up with group norms with your Cleaver kids. So what do we need to do in our group? We need to wait our turn. We can't speak while someone else is speaking. You can write each of those things on the keys, have them cut out, put them on a key ring. It could be one key ring for the whole club or for the group of Cleaver kids, or they could each have their own. Another activity on the right is cutout topic. So this is developing those impromptu skills, but it's always fun to do this as a group. And each Cleaver kid adds a sentence. So you can have them in a bag, and you start with the sentence, once upon a time, a farmer went to the field and you could have them do this individually in the group, or you could start in a circle and each child say one sentence. So a farmer went to the field and had lunch. And the next child would say, while he was having lunch, he seen a bird. And the story just evolves. It gets a little crazy with 6 to 8-year-olds, but can be a lot of fun. Couple other ones is tell a story, bring some magazine advertisements in, just the advertisement. Some kids that are 6 to 8-year-old, their reading abilities vary. So you want to make sure that you're not maybe focusing on a weakness or something that they struggle with. So the pictures are always nice. You can have them explain their own version of what's happening in that magazine ad. And it could be funny, it could be related, it could not, it could be just off the wall as well. If you want to teach about 4-H projects that you have in your club, you can provide them some homework or bring some magazines or books in that show those project-related photos, and they can explain what they think is happening in it. You can use it as a teaching moment to tell them what's really happening in that photo. Personal illustrations. These kids love to draw of all abilities, but they like explaining what they drew in their picture because they always have unique stories. Personal greetings. You can change this up every time your Cleaver kids meet. You can talk like Elmo. So you're like, hi, my name is Suzanne. And they all do it, and everybody will sound different. There'll be lots of giggles and laughs from it as well. But all of these little things are developing listening skills because they have to listen to what the other kids are saying or telling the story about, as well as the communication skills. There's a point to remember at the bottom of the slide is, remember, public speaking is not a requirement for Cleaver kids. So it shouldn't be pushed upon them, but you want to develop the skills. So developing is key, and making them build the confidence that they need to speak in front of a group of people. And you might have to remind them after they've told that story about their personal illustration that they drew, that you just public spoke and you just told a group of people what's in that photo. And they may not realize that that is public speaking, but that's how we build the confidence, because they were so excited to share something that was of interest to them. The fourth skill area, development area, is ability to set goals, track progress, and celebrate achievements. This is the fun. This is where you get to be creative. This is where you get to do your mini projects and really explore what 4-H has to offer. Keeping records and evaluating the results are an inherent part of 4-H. These skills and habits can be taught beginning with Cleaver kids. And this isn't saying it's not a requirement for Cleaver kids to keep a record book, to keep feed records, or even a list of activities, but you can do this in a fun way. We do provide a progress folder, and you can track how many activities that they participate in by every time they come to 4-H, they get a sticker, or they can draw a picture after they did a communication activity, or they met a new friend, they can put a picture of their new friend in it. And that progress folder is a stepping stone to the record books. So they're learning to bring that to the meetings or the activities. They're learning that they need to complete it either at 4-H or at home. So helping them get in the groove of the record books that is a requirement of a 4-H member. For this age group, keep the goals simple. They can be few in numbers. What's important is the goals, doesn't matter how many you have, that are set or appropriate and achievable for the age group, and that they're flexible enough for every child's unique abilities and needs. So one group, 1 year, you may have a very competent group of Cleaver kids that are so enthusiastic, and they can cut, they can color, they can lead anything imaginable that you put in front of them. But the next group of the same age may not have those needs, or have additional needs, and they may not have those abilities. So you want to be able to adapt. There is so many things a Cleaver kid can learn. So keep it simple for yourself. You're a volunteer leader, and Cleaver Kids is an opportunity for you to be creative. So you want to pick something that is appropriate and achievable for not only the kids, but as you as a leader. So make sure that you are not over planning yourself or putting too many resources in there, because as long as it's creative and it's fun and there's an opportunity to learn, the Cleaver kids will thoroughly enjoy it. Tracking the progress for Cleaver kids is not necessarily in a formal process or as rigid as diaries or record books. It's a simple way for leaders and parents to make sure that the group is on their way to attaining their goals, developing skills, and having a successful, fun year. Celebrating achievements, this can happen at any time. You don't have to wait till Achievement Day or Awards Night to celebrate these achievements. Tell the kids that they've done a great job. I've seen Cleaver kids not been able to say their name at the first 3 4-H activities. By the 4th one, they can say their name. They're maybe not looking at anybody at that point, but that's a huge success, and that should be celebrated. So you want to make sure that that's being pointed out, because that's also how they learn and grow. This will encourage them to continue participating with enthusiasm and give them something to look forward to and work towards. If they're saying, I feel good about 4-H, I feel good about me, that's what we aim for every Cleaver kid. So if they're feeling like, I want to go to 4-H every day, or 4-H is a place where I can be myself, that is a reason to celebrate in itself. So set goals, progress through them, and celebrate. You want to keep your parents in the loop. because often when kids are enrolled in hockey or dance, it's something that you can actually see an end result at the end of the year. So a kid that couldn't stand on skates could skate the whole length of their arena by the end of the hockey season. And that is something that's a visual that parents see. And often they take for granted those little strides of that Cleaver kid standing up and saying their name at a meeting in front of a group of people is a success. So you want to work with your parents, work with your Cleaver kids to determine what they want to learn and explore. And I want to emphasize Cleaver kids. So ask the kids what they want to learn and explore through their 4-H year. I just see in the comment, my horse doesn't look like a horse. That's great, because when you're working with Cleaver kids, like the hand poster, things tend to go off the tracks a little bit. So it's okay for the Cleaver kids to see that maybe yours didn't work out as perfect or as great as you thought it was going to be. Set simple and achievable goals. Communicate with the parents and the fellow club families. This is important. So once you set your simple goals, it could be 1, it could be 10, it could be 4, whatever you determine is achievable. Make sure you're communicating that with your Cleaver kid parents, and let your leaders of various projects know as well, because then they will understand better when you ask them to come watch the members or get their hands dirty on a small engine, because that's part of your goal. Remember, when you're programming, it should be cooperative rather than competitive, especially at this age. There's lots of room for competitive sports and opportunities as they learn and grow. But as Cleaver kids, let's keep it cooperative and focus on the skill development areas that we talked about already, rather than having it competitive. Use the progress folder provided. Some leaders don't know what to do with that. So if you have some questions or need some examples, please reach out to us. And it's actually what our next webinar in about a month will be on, to help you use those tools. And as you're setting your goals, progress, and focus on the skill development areas, have fun and be creative. I can't express this enough. Cleaver Kids is a great opportunity. Often we get calls from leaders saying, we need more rules, we need more guidelines. Well, have some fun with these kids, because you are nurturing them into future 4-H members, and we want them to stay as long as they possibly can in the program. I see a question. I will get back to that in a second. I actually have it on a next slide a little bit. So the next few slides are just photos of some clubs that have sent me photos. We always love Cleaver Kid photos for webinars, promotional materials, and to show what they're up to across the province. So a couple simple goals that you can implement in your club. You don't have to be specific on it. You can say, we want to make something. This could be anything. That could be the picture on the left. They are making kind of dioramas for their model horse, which was their little mini project. So as the year went on, their make something developed into something they could showcase at the end of the year. Go on a field trip. You don't have to say where, because things change, plans change. But it could be just one of your goals that you keep referencing back to, saying that we want to go and explore something, go on a field trip. I met a new friend, or have Cleaver Kids meet a new friend can be another goal. And have fun can be a simple goal. So making sure that every activity that you're doing the kids are enjoying it. I'm just looking at the question, is 4-H Alberta going to develop a program or any books for Cleaver Kids? there's a little more detail in the question, but I'm going to address that. So we have been putting activities in the eScoop, which comes out monthly, and it should go to leaders for sure in every 4-H family that's provided an email address. February's was an Olympic themed activity that you can do with your Cleaver kids that connected them to the community. We really like that clubs are creating and building their own books or activity books with their own information, because you can really tailor it to what the kids need. We're not going to be developing project-specific activities, but we'll provide you more activities like I mentioned earlier in the webinar based on the skill development areas. And then you can take those and make them your own and relate it to beef or horse or canine or sewing or crafts, because it's pretty tough to develop something for every project that we have, especially when we want member or Cleaver kids to explore 4-H. We would like to also start up a sharing location. We're working on that, where people that have developed their own information, they can post their ideas or their activities, and people can pull from them, use what they want, and continue on. So that is in the works. It'll be like a little 4-H Pinterest for Cleaver Kid activities, and it'll be tied to our website. So just keep watching for that. We want to put them up there soon. A couple more pictures is if the kids are dirty, that's an achievement. These guys learned about branding, and this is one of the activities that they did. They branded a board with their name on it, but they learned different places where brands go, how you would develop your own brand, and that was the end result with that group of Cleaver kids. Integrate your Cleaver kids in your club fundraising activities. Everyone can sling a tire, and actually these little Cleaver kids encourage those older members to get their butts in gear and put more tires in the truck, because it become a competition on who can get as many in there. And the kids, the younger guys, they work together to get the tires in there, and the older members, they were trying to do it on their own until they figured out if they did it as a team, they would catch up to those Cleaver kids. So that was a fun activity that happens across the province, and Cleaver kids can participate in. It doesn't have anything to do with money, so they don't have to handle money or products. They just need to get a little dirty. Another one is to get involved in the community. This picture come from supporting a lunchbox program in the Leduc area, and these kids decorated these lunch boxes and then they were auctioned off. So they worked with the community group Karma Concerts, and they decorated the lunch boxes for 4-H's 100th anniversary of what they thought 4-H was, and they were all unique, all different, and a great hit at that activity. Remember that Cleaver kids are future 4-H members. So like I mentioned before, you don't want to integrate them 100% of the time with juniors, intermediates, and seniors, because you want them to progress and be excited about what is next for them as they grow through the program. And again, can't emphasize this enough, have fun, be creative, use Pinterest, use other youth organizations. Breed associations have great resources for not only handouts or activities that you can do, and you can build a book. There's been clubs, there's these pictures here, you can kind of see their books in the back, is that they have a duotang, and every time they meet, they would get an activity to put in their book. So they have to remember to bring their book to get their paper activity or whatever it was in that booklet. One success is to build the book as the year goes on, rather than give them the full exercise or the full book complete, because it overwhelms parents. They think they have to accomplish everything so fast, but you want to work on that at the club activities or club meetings as well. So I'm almost ready to wrap up here. I'm going to leave you with 2 slides about progression and experiential learning. So motto of 4-H is to learn to do by doing. Cleaver kids will learn more and retain more if they're participating with hands-on learning activities. We encourage you to do the activity, ask what happened, and what they learned. So the bubbles on the side are 5 steps. Experience it, do the activity, share what you did. So that could be within the group. The process, what happened, or what surprised you. So the drawing of the horse activity can be, it surprised you that it didn't actually turn out to look like a horse. And there's lots of laughs that'll go along with that as well. Generalize, how can this activity help you? So what did you learn from doing this activity, and what can you use in future activities? And number 5, apply what you did learn. So at a future activity, you can take what you learned from this one, saying, if I rush, it's not going to turn out as well as I want it to be. So I'm going to learn next time I do something to take my time. So 3 easy words: do, reflect, and apply on that one. And keys to success: progression. Keep all activities at an age-appropriate level. That's why it's hard to integrate all the time with older members. You want to make sure that you are integrating them at some degree, but you want to make sure that the Cleaver kids have an opportunity to do something at their own level as well. When program planning for your club, keep in mind that activities should differ between Cleaver kids, juniors to intermediates, and intermediates to seniors. Because if you think about your older members, we have a drop-off in 4-H around that intermediate age. They're looking for something that's fresh and new. So if they start as a 6-year-old Cleaver kid and they do the Cleaver Kid program for 3 years, then become a junior, and they continue doing the same thing that they just did for the last 3 years, their tenure most likely will not be there, and they are looking for something fresh and new. So make sure when you're doing your program that you're altering it each year. One nice thing about Cleaver kids is you can alter that program. You can develop a 3-year program and you can rotate it. So you have kids join in the fall of 2017. That's year 1 of your program. And then next year you're going to run year 2. The following year is year 3. And then you recycle it back and use year 1 again with alterations to meet the needs of your kids in your club. But at least you have a starting ground and you're not having to develop something new every year. And that's what will help you keep it fresh as well. Each age group has very different learning abilities and develop skills at different rates, especially 6 to 8 years old. They differ so much in skill development just in their own age group. All the materials and activities should be progressive in nature by ensuring each of year builds on the skills that the previous year, and make sure that there's continual learning for each child throughout their 4-H years. Within a single project, such as beef or light horse, this can be achieved at any level. So your expectations are different from a 6-year-old than it will be from a 9-year-old, and you want to look at your program to make sure that it is fresh, new, and progressive. Children learn and develop best when they're able to manage the pace of the direction they're learning. So that's why I said about the book, you want to make sure that you're adding as you go rather than overwhelming them of this is everything we have to do, because that could be very overwhelming for not only parents but the Cleaver kids as well. Have them involved in the goal setting, and they then will continue to build their existing knowledge as they progress through the program. It's very important that they feel safe and confident through any activities that you're doing. So if you're experimenting, repeating, making mistakes, you want to make sure that you're celebrating or talking about things that maybe didn't go the way they should have. So that in a nutshell, I felt like I talked really fast for a long time. I appreciate the questions. I will expand on that one in an email as well about the development of different tools and whatnot. The activities that I did talk about, they will be posted online with a heading. So developing new skills, and those activities will be underneath them on the download section of the 4-H website. Also, don't forget to look at the e-scoop that comes out every month for activities for Cleaver Kids. It usually has a heading Cleaver Kids on it, and it's related back to a skill development area, and you can go back to September and pull all of those as well. The next webinar that we'll be hosting will be talking about using Cleaver Kid resources. We'll kind of dive into extra or other organizations that have things that you can use for your Cleaver Kids as well. Every club, and if you don't, you can connect with me offline. My info's at the top there. They were a little late coming out, but now all clubs should have received their progress folders, their year-end certificates, their cards, and their silver seals for their certificates by now. Also online is a leader resource guide. If you're going to print it, my tip for you is to print it in black and white and not in full color, because it will suck your printer dry. So you want to make sure that you look at that setting before you print that, but it has good suggestions on how to incorporate your Cleaver Kids into your club. You can also contact me or your regional provincial council director, that they would have some information as well. So that is all I have for you guys tonight. I really appreciate your time that you took tonight to join us. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'm just going to look at the questions one more time before I sign off. And like I said, the recording of this will be sent out to you most likely tomorrow, and there will be an evaluation as well. So if you could fill that out, I would love to hear that. So is there a place to find 4-H themed coloring sheets or activity sheets? We actually have a few of those. I'm going to flip to the next slide. There's a Cleaver. He's all kind of cut out with the old logo on it. We do have him with the new logo on it, and he isn't colored. So your Cleaver Kids can color him, put him together with brads, and you can use him as a pledge learning activity. So you can color his head and talk about what head means in the 4-H pledge. And there's some other activities that go along with that one. That one will be posted online as well. And the picture to the left are the resources that I was talking about that should have been either couriered or mailed out to you guys. There's also Cleaver Kid logos that you can use, Cleaver the Beaver, and then the Cleaver holding the banner. Those are free for you guys to use on your t-shirts or documents that you want to print as well. So I enjoyed my evening. Again, thank you very much, and I hope that you'll join us for our next webinar. This is quite new for us to explore the webinar technology, but we will be using more of it so we can reach more leaders that can sit at home in their pajamas or relax and learn about their projects that they're learning. So thanks everybody, and we will talk to you soon.